What's up, Mountain Toughers? Coach Bigham here. We've got a great athletes here today. I got Mr. Jake, I got Nick, and then I got Chris. We're fixing to get after the bench press, and I know there's a lot of Mountain Toughers out there that like to do this horizontal pressing. We're gonna really talk about those strengths and weaknesses and how we're gonna correct some of your deficiencies in the bench press. Come on in, Chris, let's jump in. Let's get on the bench press. And as always, remember, side angle is going to give you your best position for bar path. It's also going to give you the best position to know that you're analyzing the best performance of the movement. So what I'm going to do in this video now is I'm going to start from the side, and then I'm going to push to the front just to give you a couple different angles as we're doing this video analysis. So I want you to do 2 reps while I'm on the side, Chris, and then I want you to do 1 rep while I'm in the front of you. Go ahead, at your own pace. All right, hold what you got. Give me 1 more good rep. All right, relax, rack it back. In the bench press, we have to have stability from the ground all the way to the bar, okay? We've got to make sure that we have solid leg drive. And what I really want to show you right here, Chris, is that our leg drive is not as solid as I'd like. So let's take a look at this video and see what you're thinking here. So when I look from the side, I'm going to give you first and foremost, what of our bar path, what should it actually look like, okay? What it should look like, it should go from the sternum up to what we call a lazy J. That's what we're looking for the bar path. So let's take a look and see where yours ends up being. Okay, look, we're pretty close to the start positions in the bottom. As we go up, come around here and make sure you can see that, Jake and Nick. As you can see, we start to follow that path. The only thing is we just did not allow ourselves to stay as tight as I would like. So this caused me to want to try to transition to see if we've got a solid anchor when we're pushing through this. So let me rotate over. I'm going to clear that off. Let's go ahead and look at the front side of it. Now, when I look at the front side and I'm doing analysis on this, I'm looking first and foremost at the start. Bar looks pretty even, okay? One thing I'd like to see you doing, Chris, I'd like to see that thumb around the bar. Right now, you're what we call a suicide grip. That's a little unsafe. More people in the gym, Mountain Toughers, get hurt on a bench press because they use a suicide grip and they don't have a spotter and they can't control the bar and they end up losing it on like a max or a heavy lift. Okay, so overall, we're starting pretty good. I'm going to clear this off. I'm going to come on down and watch how it moves. Okay, so down at the bottom position, we look pretty stable, but if you look right here, you see the legs as I zoom this in. Those legs are moving and those shorts are moving. You see that? We don't want to see that when we're actually doing the actual exercise. We want that to be fixed. So I got a pretty good drill for you, Chris, that I think that can really help you get after generating external rotation. As we talked about in a squat or in a deadlift, this is no different. Won't you slide this up on your knee on both sides? What I've got here is a 12-inch band. This is a Sorinex band, okay? There's probably other bands out there, but I really like this one. It gives us about 70 pounds of tensile strength. Chris is a pretty good sized fella, so he needs about 1/3 of his body weight worth of tensile strength so we can recruit those glute med and glute maxes. So I'm going to go ahead and have you lay down and get set up on your bench again. As he sets up, what I'm looking at is a good position to try to get this tibia or shin to be vertical on each side. So I want you to move those feet out just a little bit for me, okay? I want you to go ahead and get ready when you set up, thumb around the bar for me so we're good and safe. Now, before you get ready to take this bar off, I want you now to set your feet. I want you to push those out. I want you to activate those glutes. Good, decent arch. Sternum stays high. Brace hard here like I'm about to punch you, okay? And now unrack it and pull it out. And then give me a couple reps, being stable here, really driving through the legs. Good. I like that. Outstanding work right there, Chris. Go ahead and rack it back. Leg drive is very important in a bench press. This is an athletic movement. If you turn your lower half off and let it be on vacation, you're setting the conditions for more shoulder injuries because they're unstable pushing from that platform. Great job, Chris. All right, let's jump in here, Jake. I want to take a look at yours. Let me get set up on the video. All right, 3 reps at your own pace. Good. Last one. Great work, Jake. Rack it back. All right, y'all bring it in. Let's take a look at see how Jake's bench looks. If you recall what we talked about a while ago, we said what? We want a lazy J or a lazy C. Some people will call it a C. Some people call it a J. I kind of go with the J. Maybe it's because of my middle name. I don't know. But what we're looking for here, remember, is a good position. The bar path should touch the sternum. It should be in the vicinity of the sternum, and we should push out of that position, allowing the bar to move towards our eyes, as you can see. Now, since I drew a lazy line, it ain't got to be 100% accurate. It needs to be in that ballpark for your range of motion. So as I come down, we're pretty close, okay? We're pretty good right there. As we come up, we essentially stay in a straight line. You see how it never came back? See that right there, Chris? It never came back. So what we're missing here is bar path and control of our upper back. The bench press, a lot of people think, well, primary muscles, the pectoralis major, the delts, and the triceps. It's really a no-go. If you want to be the best bench presser in the world, you've got to have your lats and upper back needs to be just as active or more as the anterior side. So if your lats are burning and your upper back's burning when you do a bench press, your technique's right and you're going to have healthy shoulders. Let me show you something here, Jake. I think this would be pretty good for you to try out for me. So I want you to take this band. I want you to place it on both of your wrists. We're going to take that same bench press position. We're going to put it out in front, and we want to line up with that sternum. Let's go ahead and set up right here. This is what I call a true banded pull apart. A lot of the stuff we do with these simple bands going back and forth, they're not as good as we think they are. This is specificity for the bench press. Go ahead and pull it apart hard as you can. This is about 35 pounds of tensile strength. Elbows locked. We're in a stacked position. We're going to brace the core. Okay, nice and tight. Glutes are on. We're anchored to the floor. Now, range of motion, slow and controlled. Maintain tensile strength throughout the entire press. You're going to start to feel that upper back really come on. Now, keep those arms straight right here, nice and tight. Start right there and come down. Good. Now finish up. Good. Go ahead and pull one more time. Good. Keep that tensile strength the whole time. Good. All right, relax right there, Jake. Remember, this band pull apart is the specificity that you need for your bench press. Get a really active upper back by pulling really hard. It's going to help set the conditions to be able to blow your bench through the roof. Let's take a look, Nick. Let's see what you got going on. Let's see your bench press. Let me get set up here. All right, on your own pace, go ahead and set up and give me a good 3 reps. Good. Good. Last one. All right, rack it for me. Y'all bring it in here. Let's take a look. When we unrack a bench press, we've got to set the conditions for the lats to come on. We have to build tension in the system from the beginning. So that's one of the things I'm seeing right here. If you watch when you come out, I'm going to run at full speed. You really race it out. We'll run it again. You really come out fast, and if you notice, the bar twists. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so that y'all can see this. As you come out, you have a slight twist in the bar. See how this side, if I was to do this and give you a frame of reference, and you'll see that one now, if I drew a line and compared to the other side, they're not parallel. They're a little bit cantered. So what that tells me is your lat engagement is probably not fully turned on to really control the bar. We want to pull the bar with our lats into position. I got a pretty good drill right here. Let's try this one out. Let's slide that weight off for me on that side, Chris. This is a really simple setup. What you see I've got here, I take a band, and the reason I put it on the inside of the bar is because we got some bigger plates on here. We're like 45s and bumpers. They're a little thick. I want it tight against the rack when the band goes around so I can build tensile strength against the rack. This is a simple setup. 35 pounds of tensile strength is all I have here. This should be good for Nick right here. I want you to go ahead and set up like your normal bench. Okay? Active glutes, hard into the floor. Got a nice little arch. Sternum is high. We really want to recruit these lats here. So what I want you to do, Nick, is when you actually get ready, I want you to pull this out. I don't want you to press. I want you to pull it out to your sternum, and then I want you to move it down an inch or two and then re-rack it, okay? Here we go. Pull it out. Tensile strength. Good. See that tensile there? Give me a nice little bend on the arm. Good. Back up. Re-rack it. Good. Same thing. We're pulling that back in. Pull it back over the sternum. Be aggressive with your pull out. There we go. Bend a little bit and rack it. Good, rack that back. Good job, Nick. So as you can see, Nick had so much pull on the rack, our rack was moving. Okay, that's what we want to see. We want you to be aggressive. When you unrack a bar, if you go up, you lose the lat engagement. And it's hard to reestablish it once it's over your chest. So we want to pull it out. So it's a paramount when you set your J-arms or your rack height on a squat rack or on something that's not a fixed position like a bench press, you need to set the heights high enough so that you don't have to lift it to get it out. You can pull it out. Great job. So let's summarize what we went over. We started off with Chris, and the reason Chris had his biggest deficiency was he did not have a good anchor. Remember, a bench press has 5 points of contact. Left foot, right foot, glute in contact with the bench, upper back in contact with the bench, and the head touching the bench. We've got to have a great anchor before we can ever have a great press. So we gave him a simple external band, tensile strength, to really get after the glute med and the glute max. We went and transitioned to a Jake. Jake had a great bench, but one thing he was doing, he didn't have a great bar path. He was pushing the bar away from himself instead of letting it finish above the eyes. So what we did was give him a band pull apart exercise so he can generate tensile strength to really activate the upper back. And then lastly, we worked with Nick, and Nick also had a great bench too, solid anchor. But one thing he was doing is he's rushing his setup. He was pulling the bench out way too fast, causing the bar to start to twist. We wanted to take that away by adding in a simple banded pull-out drill that we utilize with our 41-inch band. That allows us to recruit the lats. So once the lats are recruited, we set the conditions for a big-time bench. Keep following us. We got more great content coming. Outstanding job, Mountain Toughers.